There was once a small village nestled between rolling hills, where everyone knew each other by name. In this village, there lived an elderly woman named Emma, who was known for her kindness. Every morning, she would walk through the village square, greeting everyone with a smile. She would stop by the bakery to give the baker's children a piece of warm bread, offer a few coins to the struggling merchant, and spend time with the children by the river, telling them stories of old times. One chilly autumn day, a young man named Thomas arrived in the village. He had recently lost his job in the city and decided to start fresh in the countryside. Thomas was weary, his heart heavy with the weight of life's struggles. He wasn't sure where to begin, so he wandered through the streets aimlessly, unsure of what to do next. As Thomas passed through the village square, he saw Emma, smiling as always, walking toward him. She looked at him with kind eyes and greeted him warmly. "You look like you've been carrying a heavy burden," she said gently. Thomas, surprised by her insight, nodded and sighed. He shared with her his troubles, the lost job, the feeling of being adrift, and the weight of disappointment. Emma listened attentively, her hands folded in front of her. When he finished, she smiled softly and said, "You know, my dear, what you give to others is often what you receive in return. Life has a way of reflecting our actions." Confused, Thomas asked, "But how? I've given everything I could. I worked hard, and yet, everything seems to have fallen apart." Emma pointed to a tree in the square, its branches heavy with fruit. That tree didn't just grow by standing still. It needed sunlight, water, and care. In the same way, life asks us to give before we receive. Sometimes, the smallest acts of kindness can create ripples, changing the course of our own journey. The next day, Thomas decided to act on Emma's advice. He spent his morning helping a neighbor gather firewood, then volunteered at the local market. He shared smiles, gave kind words, and gave his time where it was needed. Slowly, over the following days, he began to feel lighter. The village folk started to notice his efforts, and soon enough, they found ways to support him too. The baker offered him some bread in exchange for a little work. The merchant invited him to help with his stall, and a few weeks later, Thomas found a steady job in the village. Months passed, and Thomas flourished, not only in his work but in his spirit. He had learned that life didn't always give you what you wanted right away, but it did, in a way, give you what you put into it. By helping others, he had found his way back to happiness and stability. One evening, while walking home, Thomas saw Emma again in the village square. This time, he smiled with understanding. "I see now," he said. "It's true. What we give, we receive." Emma smiled, her eyes twinkling. "Yes, Thomas. The kindness we sow grows into something much greater than we can imagine. We don't just change the world, we change ourselves." And so, Thomas carried this lesson with him, knowing that in life, the simple act of giving, whether it be a kind word, a helping hand, or a listening ear, could come back in ways that transformed not just his life, but the lives of others too. This story reminds us that what we give to others, whether it's time, kindness, or effort, creates a ripple effect in our own lives. The more we contribute positively, the more we receive, often in ways we least expect.